Two, one.
Going live.
And we are live.
We are.
Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We
We're
on both tonight?
We're live everywhere.
Oh, I got the audio on the phone. I'm getting in trouble with the production guy already. That's
We're having technical difficulties
we
again
ain't got
tonight.
no difficulties tonight. Our TV's just not working tonight. We always got something on the mix.
Yep. Always something.
So anyway, we're going live here. We're going to let some folks jump on there, watch the numbers jump up, and as always, share this out, folks. Tell your friends that we're on, and we're on for After the Bite.
Andy Stevens said, "Hooday."
Hooday.
That's right. The Bengals won.
Oh, is that what that? Okay. That's right. Hey, you know, and that's in our neck of the woods,
Yep.
the Bengals.
Yep.
Just north of here. We just come through there, by the way, back from ice
fishing.
So, well, we got Trenton Estridge and we got me right here for After the Bite. And we're letting folks jump on here. Joe Reynolds, he says, "How? Seems like y'all had a lot of fun up north." We had a blast up there on ice. I don't know what you thought about it.
It was fun. It was something different, but I mean.
Something different? That's not very exciting there.
It was my first trip.
So ice fishing it's a little different trip. It's kind of, really the ice is kind of intimidating when you get on.
Oh, it is, big time. I thought we was going to go through a couple times.
How'd you like running along, you're riding along on that four-wheeler, and all of a sudden it goes down into that ice and
I thought I was going down. Gonna have to call Coast Guard to come get me.
Call the Coast Guard to come get you. Hey, I got your daddy's phone number here. Run up and pick us up. But Greg Collar jumping on here, Victoria Johnson, Jerry Allen, Joe Reynolds, Mason Burden, Andy Stevens. Appreciate all of you jumping on there tonight for After the Bite. Folks, we're going to be talking about a fun episode. Let's see, was you in Florida filming that one? No, you wasn't. But, well, let me just tell you. It's down there in the land of giant bass, and as the people that watched tonight seen, we definitely caught them down there, and good old Nate Adams was my guest on the show, and Nate and me had, of course, a great time catching fish, and I've actually laid some of the baits out right here that we threw, which was a CD2. We threw some rattle traps and rip knockers right here by Jinko, and we caught them, and it was a lot of fun.
It looked like fun.
So for all you folks out there this week, we're always giving away a Jinko prize package right there, and I'm also this week. Oh, Trent, you know what I didn't get?
What'd you do now?
I forgot to get the 811 Inu that I had out there in my truck. We're going to give away an 811 Inu.
Inu.
You know, one of them little. You take and you put it between the trees and you can, it's, what do you call it?
Hammock?
Hammock, yeah. Yeah, it's called an Inu. That's what they call them, and they fold up into a bag, but I had 811 Inus
Is that what was sitting at the shop earlier?
Yeah.
I seen something sitting at the shop that looked like it was in a green bag.
Well, there's one of them in the half-ton truck. You know, hey, do this. Run out that door and tell Lauren to go over and grab that Inu.
Is she outside?
She's right out there playing basketball. Tell her to grab that. So we need that 811 Inu. We're going to give away an 811 Inu. And of course, we'll be getting a Jinko prize package.
Is that
so
Inu in your
comment,
dad's
tell us where you're from, and share this out to all the folks, your friends and everybody, to tell them to jump on here. Chad Coleman, I see you on here. Share this thing out. Jim Lee. Folks, you're going to, like I said, we'll be giving away a Jinko prize package and an 811 Inu. Folks, I love them little hammocks. Lauren, my daughter, and Nick, we have them, and Lauren gets out there and puts them between the fence and the tree, and hangs or lays down in them. They're comfortable. little hammocks. But anyway, Tommy Williams, how are you, Tommy? Of course, Tommy's probably, I guess.
Tommy's in Florida right now.
Oh, is he in Florida right now? What, they down
Practice
there?
for the first Southern Open.
Okay, so is it started or will it start?
I think it
Or do you
starts
know?
Thursday.
So, Tommy, if you on there, how's the fishing down in Florida? We want to know. And of course, Tommy fishes. And what is it he's fishing? So
Fishes the Bass Opens.
Bass Opens, and he actually
He's
won
fishing-
one.
Yep.
Let's see, when was it?
It was
last year.
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago? Yep. And Tommy's, of course, from right here in our hometown, and
Yep.
I've known Tommy a long time. He's beat up on me fishing many a times. But Phil Myers jumping on, and Phil, welcome on here to After the Bite. And our 811 tackle tip of the week here that we'll be talking about. And of course, we always have our little Jinko cam right here. And Jinko cam gonna be good to rolling. And here we go, watch this. We'll just show you what a CD2 looks like right there on the Jinko cam. How about that? We can flip it around the other way too, just to make sure you got a vision up both ways. But anyway, we'll be talking about, I'm going to talk a little bit this week, Trenton, about lipless crankbaits and shallow running crankbaits, and just kind of when I like to throw them and what I like to throw them on, rods and line and all that. So that's going to be a little later tonight. That's going to be our 811 tackle tip that we'll be discussing these two baits. If you haven't thrown a CD2 or Jinko's Rip Knocker, folks, I throw them all the time, love both of them. You've been throwing a few of the crankbaits, and have you thrown the CD2 at all?
I've thrown it a little bit.
Not a
I
lot
like
yet?
the CD7 though.
Okay, yep. I knew you liked the little CD7. Now that's a little deeper diving, so we're going to stay in the shallow crankbaits and talk a little bit, because in the episode tonight we were throwing them. At the beginning of it, I caught a number of them on that CD2 right out the gate. I actually was funny on the show and said, hey, I'm going to even throw in a Jinko plug this week, and because we were catching them on them. Doreen, we met Doreen up in Sports Unlimited in Michigan. Doreen, glad you're jumping on there. And Doreen, thank you for the discount on the UTV helmets, because I kind of forgot to take our helmets with us for the kids riding the quad.
Yeah.
And in Michigan, you have to have a sticker, an ORV sticker on your utility vehicle, and you have to have helmets.
If you're riding an ATV.
Yes, if it doesn't have, I guess, the ROPS, and there's probably whatever the laws are on it. But with the UTV, we don't have to have them, but with the ATV. But really, it's probably safe to wear them all the time.
Yeah.
Probably I don't always, but I really should. I love throwing the square bill crankbaits. Andy Stevens, I agree with that one. If you haven't thrown that CD2, grab them, because I'm telling you, it's a great crankbait. This one's probably my favorite of all. Jinko cam again, right there, favorite color. And but there are lots of different brands of shallow running crankbaits and lipless crankbaits, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So Kate Henderson jumping on there. John Griffin, folks, we got a load on there tonight, so we appreciate all of you getting on here. And so I guess, like I said, share it out, let people know we're on here, because we're going to be picking a couple winners tonight for the Inu and for the Jinko. Did Lauren say she was going to grab that thing?
She's going to find it.
It's in the back seat of the...
Of your
My
half-ton.
half-ton.
Not the work half-ton.
Not the work half-ton.
Okay, I told her it was in either that one or that one.
Yeah, it's rolled up in the bag. Hopefully my daughter finds it. So anyway, as always, welcome to After the Bite. And Nate Adams, folks, big Nate Adams. What a great guy. You, of course, didn't get the opportunity to meet him.
Nope.
But Nate fished Murray State 4 years, all the way through high school, and which is totally cool for me, because like you, Trenton, you got to fish in high school.
Yep.
Got to fish a couple years on the bass fishing team.
It was enjoyable.
Your brother's at it now,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Me and my brother actually fished together in high school.
Now, did you say your sister?
She might fish.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, come on, Lindsay, let's go.
She might give it a whirl. She enjoys it.
So I know she likes fishing with your dad and all that, but big Nate Adams. Nate, one of the greatest guys you ever meet, just a joy to fish with. Got to meet him down at Vero, down there from Brent Anderson. And Nate and me went out on the water for the day, and it was a cold Florida day, so the bite's slow in Florida when it gets cold. Now,
How cold was it?
Oh, probably mid-50s, something like that. Wouldn't you say, Christopher? You would know best. You know the water was still warm, right?
How warm was the water, Christopher?
Yeah.
It's warmer than it was above.
So for all you folks that didn't catch the episode, Christopher went kaplowsh, as I said on the show, right into the lake while he was setting up the GoPros. The best part is he had the GoPro set up, Trenton, on the console, and it got him going flip.
Oh, it got everything.
So I was teasing Nate because I told Nate, oh, you just bumped Chris into the water, but he really never even touched him. Christopher grabbed that GoPro and he just went tumbling.
His momentum just kept falling forward. Nate, hey, I give it to Nate. He did try to grab you.
He did. He had him by the belt for a second.
I thought he had me.
I thought he had you, that's for sure. But anyway, Christopher took a little plunge, found out what the temps were. And what do you think the temps were?
Hopefully they was in the mid-60s.
But it probably was in the low 60s or high 50s, low 60s down there. But it was a cold front because when you're in the mid 70s down there and it drops down 15 degrees, them fish don't care for it. And I'd say at night it was probably in the 40s at that time, so which is a cold front in southern Florida like that.
I've experienced a couple of them down there where the bite is just, it's tough. But you come around and catch a few fish in the afternoon.
Well, Nate said something in that show, you know, Trenton, that as we were going along, he said, you know, even when it's cold and that, you just got to keep fishing because there's them windows when they bite.
Them fish got to eat.
Yeah, and they still, you know, like you and me, when it's cold, we probably want something warm or we want something cold when we're hot, you know, and then fish, I kind of always relate it to that and simplifying it a whole lot by all means.
Yep.
But I think fish still got to eat a little bit. But
they do.
Are you hungry when you're freezing cold? Not really. I just want something warm to drink to get me back to the warm temp. But
I eat my breakfast when it's cold.
I do that. No, I eat breakfast no matter what. That's one thing I will say about Michigan. We had some good meals, good breakfast.
We did. It was good.
Andy Stevens commented, I love throwing a Jinko CD7, that's for sure, Andy. That is a great fish catcher. I put Trenton onto that a while back and gave him some of them. Really, I gave him one of them right out the gate, and he used that thing until he broke it. And then he says, well, I broke it. And I'm like, well, that's good. If you're catching that many fish on it, you break it.
Oh, yeah, they loved it up at Taylorsville.
Oh, hey, don't be giving up your secrets now.
Oh, it's okay.
But Angela Harrith on here, Doug Ray, and always like just mentioning folks' names, and we'll be giving away little Jinko packets. Tell us where you're watching from tonight, folks. I want to know where your house is and where you live, not your address, just town or county or something like that, or state. Jimmy Norwood jumping on here, and you know, when we're up, there's our Enu right there. Is our Enu here?
Oh,
yes, Lauren. You're our hero.
Holly
comes in, don't knock nothing over, puppy. But thank you, Lozy. So anyway, folks, right here, look at this. You can win this great 811 Enu. Watch this. These are all. Have you ever seen these?
Nope, I ain't seen them.
So look, these are hammocks. You put them in this bag. I got these are new little 811 call before you dig. Contact 811 before you dig. Promo item here, folks. Check these out. You can pull this out of the bag, so when you're on the road and you're at a fancy Marriott stand, you go right out there in the lobby. You hook this on their countertop and you hook this on the other countertop. Don't do that. But anyway, here, Trenton, you come over here and we're going to just show this off. I love these Enus. But these things fold up into a little package. You hook them tree to tree. You can just grab them, jump right in them, and roll yourself up in them. It's a cool little hammock.
Hook this thing up. I might have to lay down and take a nap.
Yep, it comes with a rope, comes with a hook, the fastener, and look, here's what's so cool about them, is you take and you wad it right back up, and tuck it right back in its little pouch right there. So you put your belt in there and then just stuff it right on back in there. Don't take but a minute, but anyway, we're gonna be giving one of them away to you. We're gonna be shipping them out. Shared from Taylorsville. Now there we go. We like that, Dana. Keep on sharing it out. We appreciate it. Love that hammock. How fun. That's a pretty good comment. Y'all gonna have to beat that one now. So anyway, that's gonna be one of our giveaways tonight. And of course the Jinko package, I'm gonna send old Will Roby and Colton a message that says tonight's package needs to have some CD2s and some
CD
rip
or
knockers in it. Yep. So anyway, cool little hammock right there that we'll be giving away. Of course, we mentioned Chris falling in the water. That was a good, funny moment with Nate. But probably one of the most enjoyable things Trenton, fishing with Nate is his appreciation for the opportunity to fish in high school fishing. He is actually a realtor at home. He was guiding down in Florida part-time. Now, they are not guiding down there where we were fishing at right now. I'm not sure where else he's at guiding or if he is right now. Actually, we're going to grab Nate one night here before long and bring him on. But and he can tell us all about what he's doing and where at. But Nate, for a young guy, he had a lot of good insight, man. He was just talking about, just life and that every day ain't promised to you. I mean, he just had a great demeanor about him to be in the boat with for a young guy, and it was a great day and a fun episode to film with him. And we actually shot that whole show in one day, right, Christopher? That was a one day. We shot that whole show in a day. Sometimes, of course, it takes us 2 or 3 days, to shoot a show. But that particular episode we shot in a day. And, I'll say we had a couple stretches in there, Trenton, that we really caught them. They just, kind of like early in the morning there when we first started, we caught some fish, and then it was just kind of sporadic throughout the day. But then I'm going to tell you something about old Nate. I could see it in his eyes. He was just like, man, he was, just thinking, man, I got to make this show good. I got to make this show good. Son, he commenced putting on a show there for a little stretch. Them couple of fish, them big fish, Christopher, am I right? I mean, he just hammered them like boom, 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 and boom. They're off that one stretch. You remember that? Down through there? Christopher's not talking too loud. He's shaking his head over there. So
that's a yes.
Yeah, that's a yes. When Chris is doing this, that's him talking to us. But Trenton, now he probably had, I'm going to say there was a couple of them that were 5 pluses, like this, and then a couple of this, I'm going to say 4.5. I was having, son, if you watch the episode, well, you know me.
Oh. So
I was having a ball. I was on my belly just trying to grab.
Mudleys.
There you go, the old Studley Mudley. But I had a ball grabbing them fish for him, and getting them in the boat, and every time, man, he just light up. I mean,
that's awesome.
And he is a big old dude. Nate has to be 6'4". I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, he made me feel little, and I ain't so little. I mean,
no.
but he was just a joy to fish with and a good fisherman, tremendous good fisherman. Anybody ever gets a chance to get in the boat with him, folks, go jump in the boat with Nate Adams, because Nate's a great guy. The cool part is if you watch later this week, you can get on our YouTube, and we'll have a video coming out, Getting Real, right? Do we have a Getting Real? With Nate Adams this week. And folks, I do these interviews one-on-one with folks, and we just talk about whatever comes about. I mean, I really never know where Getting Real's going. And with Nate, it was just enjoyable. It was enjoyable to listen to him talk about, just his opportunity fishing at Murray State and fishing, high school fishing just college fishing. Can't remember. It was college team for 4 years, but anyway, he was talking about just being appreciative of, the fishing. And then he just goes into talking about, you know, himself and life and the things he's, you know, working on. And he just, he just, you know, one of them people has a great attitude.
It's a blessing to be able to go fishing when we
So,
can.
Hey, I don't think me and you complain. We
No.
bounce around. We come home, plant. How many trees please plant today?
Oh, probably 60 or so.
It was a 60 something.
Probably.
Is that what?
It was close to
I was
it.
gonna say. I know you were
It was
going back to count.
It was between 50 and 60.
So we planted 50 or 60, almost 62-inch trees today. Me, him, and about 4 other guys. And of course, there's bud marking flags and
Yep.
utility lines all through the developments.
811s. We called 811 before we dug.
On about 300 locations. So
We had them busy.
right now, we've been keeping them busy for the last month or so because all total, when we finish out between this and another couple jobs, we'll be right around 400 trees for the month. Month and a half, you know. Of course, the weather's been slowing us down. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we'd have knocked them out. But
We'd be done.
and but so I'd say I was talking about something, done forgot about what I was talking about.
Nah, I forgot too.
I got on talking about trees and landscaping. That's pretty bad, ain't it? So, I was talking about the Getting Real video.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you check out the Getting Real video, and that comes out on Thursday, Stowe. Is that that's what we'll have coming out this week, right? We don't have any other videos or anything this week. We just got Getting Real coming out Thursday, right?
No, there's an extra video this week.
Oh, Christopher's got a bonus on here I didn't know about. He likes to
didn't either.
surprise me once in a while.
There's you and Zach fishing down there.
Oh, in the canals?
I don't know if it was the canal specifically, but
Oh,
it might be.
was it where we were testing out the stupid tube and stupid crawl?
I think you were fishing on the boat. I was trying to pull it up here. Couldn't
I was
remember.
fishing on the boat in the canals. Trying to remember where that was.
No, you were at Vero. It was you were fishing with Zach. I don't remember exactly what you were doing, but you were fishing with Zach.
Huh.
It'll
Well,
be a surprise for both of those.
I'm going to have a surprise
for
video
everybody.
coming out this week. So anyway, so we'll have 2 videos this week on our YouTube. That's pretty awesome. So I guess the next thing to talk a little bit about, we'll talk a little bit about our ice fishing for a minute or two. So
Yeah, we can.
we got to go up and we got to fish the Fish Frenzy Outdoors Tournament. Found out we weren't ice fishing. Oh, we can't spoil the spoiler.
No.
Sorry, we can't tell you
No.
about that.
But-
We will tell you we fished the Fish Frenzy Outdoors Tournament. Zach Russo and them put on. They've got the ladies event coming up in, I think, February 14th or something up there. But ice fishing is a pretty good experience
It
there.
is. It's
Cold.
it's cold, and I don't know if there's a way to explain it how it is feeling to be on the ice.
So think you're out in the middle of a 5,600 acre lake, and you're normally out in a bass boat. And so Trenton over here, I auger a hole in the ice, and I shoveled all the ice away from it, and I told Trenton, I said, now look, there's one thing about ice fishing. I said, you cannot stand near the hole because it'll break and you'll fall in. He's just looking at me, eyeballs getting bigger and bigger, and of course I put 2 feet on each side of the hole. At 11 inches thick ice, you ain't going through it,
No.
but that was pretty funny.
Yep, it was.
That was kind of mean, to be honest.
Hey, but I did get to catch my first fish through the ice.
A
while I was up there.
smallmouth.
Smallmouth. I live scoped it, indeed. Yeah.
So we actually took the live scope up there. Me and Trenton stuck it through. We found some rock areas out there on Long Lake, and we looked down there. We seen these fish. Trenton says, "Oh," and I said, "Come on, cast." Casting, letting the line out because you got to go straight down. We watched his smallmouth come over and just crush that. He caught about a 2-pound smallmouth through the ice.
Yep.
Cool picture.
It was a shock. That's
and-
what it was.
Actually, what we ought to do, I'll repost that picture in a minute on our story on our Instagram and Facebook, and you can go over and check that out on our story there. That was a cool fish,
Yep.
man. First, he took him First two casts. 2 casts under the ice to catch his first smallmouth. I ain't caught a smallmouth on this ice yet.
You haven't?
Nope.
Well, I'm one up on you.
Yep, you one up on me. All right, comments. How do you get to the comments? And mine's not showing them.
Oh, Colby's on here. What's up, Colby?
Now playing. See if I can get to the comments. All right. Colby Murphy, hello, first time tuning in. Well, we welcome you for tuning in. Arden Swacker on there, Arden, West Virginia. Are you below 30 degrees again tonight? I know Arden had sent me a couple messages the other day. Minus 30.
Minus 30.
Yeah, did you catch that? I guess that's her wind chill up there was minus 30.
Oh my gosh.
I said, no.
We was up -1 temperatures, and I thought I was gonna go into hypothermia. I was so cold.
Yeah, well, we up there in Michigan, we were 0, 5 degrees, 8 degrees in the mornings. But the wind wasn't blowing.
No,
so that was a good
we got
part.
lucky.
Yeah.
But like you told me before we went up there, everything you touch is cold.
Oh, it gets down in your bones. Once you get up there, you get so cold, you're getting used to it.
I got used to it after about a day, but I still ain't a big fan of the cold. I'd rather be down in Florida right now catching some fish.
Down there with Nate Adams, Vero area.
Yep.
I can't blame you. But you would, Colby Murphy, that's what I was going to jump back to. He's been on there first time. Share out to your friends to watch because we got a couple giveaways, man. We got 811 Inu and we got a Jinko prize package, and we do this every week. Man, we always got something to give away. So join us every week and you'll make a good comment. Tell us where you're from, by the way, because we're always picking a winner. And you can always win when you're talking fishing.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Winner every time you go fishing.
So I guess it's going to be time for my favorite thing. I don't have my TV monitor tonight, so I can't do my pointing at my graphics, but Christopher, make your 811 tackle tip of the week pop up. Boom, it'd be in the corner of the screen. Normally I'm pointing to see if I can make the corner.
Yeah.
I always have fun with that. And then of course we're gonna come over here, so when we talk about the bait, under the Jinko cam. And we always wanna remind folks at 811 tackle tip of the week time to contact
811 before you dig.
How about
it's the
that
law
right there?
in all 50 states.
There we go. Son, you sound like you've been watching too many direction shows.
I've been around you too long.
You know, I always laugh. People will say they'll see us somewhere, see my boat or something, and they'll go, don't you have that 811 bass boat? And I'm like, yep, that's me. They don't ever know my name or nothing. They just know I have an 811 bass boat. I said, I've done my job, people, after all these years. So, Earl Fisher, Jefferson City, Missouri, Michael Marshall. Michael, where are you from? We always like to know, of course, Greg Collard, good old Mount Washington right next to us. That's where my wife is from. And folks over there, I don't know about them, but that's all right. That's where my wife's from. But anyway, it's time for your 811 tackle tip of the week. And I don't know if you call it the tackle tip or tackle discussion, whatever. But, Trenton, I don't know how much. I know you throw a few baits there, but I don't know if you throw a lipless crankbait a whole lot.
I do a little bit during the fall.
So it's great springtime bait, tremendous fall time bait, but your dad could tell you in the springtime you got to watch out for it because you can go fishing in March and April and really do some damage with it. It's a bait that you can cover a whole lot of water with. One of the things that I'll say about lipless crankbaits is so many times people just go out there and throw them and just reel. You can't just do that. I mean, a lot of people say, well, it's just dumb luck. Reed Ledford, on one of my episodes we filmed down on Eufaula. Reed got talking about his granddaddy, and he said, my granddaddy could take a rattle trap and he'd go out there and just beat anybody with it that would throw it with him. And there's really something to be said about that because like any other bait, just because it's lipless and you think you're just going to wind it, it's not really so. You know, I watched Trey Swindle down on Gunnersville. Trey was yo-yoing that thing. So this bait is truly a versatile bait that you can fish. Typically you're fishing it in shallow water, over grass or across a flat. You know, some of the lakes like at home, Barron River. Me and your daddy one time, you know, we caught them good up at Barron, going up the river, throwing them on these mud flats, just, you know, throwing that bait and reeling it. But, you know, it's not a bait that you want to throw around a bunch of timber or wood by any means.
Nope.
Because you're going to get hung up.
It's funny you say there's a technique when it comes to throwing them. Me and Dad, we was actually down at Dale during the fall and we were throwing them. He took it out, he took the rod out of my hands and made one cast with it and caught a fish after I'd been throwing it for about 15 minutes. Yeah,
well, it's not just a sling it and throw. I mean, there's days that keeping your rod tip down, slower cranking it. There's other days that you got to burn it under the surface. You know, Trey Swindle that day, I've really never caught him yo-yoing it, but when I watched Trey do that, man, that was crazy. And then the other thing with like the rip knocker and that, and sometimes you might want to throw a bait the size of the rip knocker. And then there's sometimes that you want to get a little 1/4 ounce one or a 1/2 ounce or 3/4. You know, I remember Rayburn, you know, they threw a lot of them big 3/4 ounce, you know, lipless crankbaits, whether it's a rattle trap, whether it's a cotton cordell spot, you know, Jinko's rip knocker. And truthfully, I like to have a selection of them because each one of them has a little different action, and there's days that they just bite it better. I will say down at that show with Nate Adams, I had caught him on the rip knocker. He was catching them on a red-eyed shad, you know, and it was like they bit one of them and then they bit the other one. You know what I'm saying? Yep. It just, whether it was the bait at that time or how he was retrieving it, I'm not positive, but it was kind of, you know, but it was still the right bait, and it was throwing that lipless crankbait. So when you look at a lipless crankbait, and I'll just bust out the box because one thing about it, this just shows you how much. So this is right out of my bass boat. And if you look, I have written on here rip knocker, and then I have 1/2 ounce red-eyed shads in here. These are mostly all 1/2 ounce baits. I keep them pretty much in a simple selection of just a couple different colors. This right here is the Jinko rip knocker, and that one is, let me make sure I always say the right colors. This is citrus shad, and this, folks, right here is probably one of my favorites. I mean, like all-time favorite lipless crankbaits. Love throwing it. I love throwing it in that citrus shad color, and then I like to throw it in the, let me get this other one out. I got to put these back in here the right way, because if not, I'll be getting them in my hand. The other, you know, there's a couple other colors there. Let's see what color they call this, and make sure I got it the right name. Blue and silver is what that one is, right here. And typically when I'm throwing a lipless crankbait, Trenton, I typically am going to throw somewhere around 14, 17 pound line. It's not a bait that I ever throw on 8 or 10 pound tests. It's nothing I throw down on 12. I typically am throwing that on 14 or, you know, 14, 17 pound line. I've gotten any more where I throw it on fluorocarbon.
Yep.
I don't really think it makes all that much difference.
No, not when you're reeling or retrieving a bait that's meant to be burnt or whatever else. However you all fish it.
Yeah, for me, I just don't want to break them off, and I'm typically not trying to get any depth out of it, you know, when I'm throwing that bait. And then, of course, there's some other baits like the red-eyed shad. I always like the, you know, that. I think they call that one, sexy shad? Isn't that what that is?
That's chrome.
No, that's chrome. Hold on. That and sexy shad.
That's sexy shad.
Yeah, sexy shad's a good one. Of course, you know, you want something in the old traditional, just color is the old chrome and blues. That you ain't never go wrong with a chrome and blue. Right there. So the thing that I'll tell you that's important about the lipless crankbait that I really find is important is, one, you're retrieving that bait and you're typically retrieving it fairly quick for the most part. And Trey made a different, when we were at Gunnersville, he did fish a different rod when he was yo-yoing it versus me casting it. But typically, when I'm throwing that 1/2 ounce bait, I'm gonna grab one of, 2 or 3 rods, and usually really 2. When I throw a 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce, I'm gonna throw the 7/6 medium heavy. It's a crankbait rod. This is Denali's Covert series. One of my favorite rods, period. I like almost all of my crankbaits, I typically throw on the Covert series. I think it's a great rod. It's a fair price rod, quality rod, and it's a great rod. But I love that 7/6 medium heavy, and it's called a crankbait rod, and it's KWS 763, which says 7'6" rod. 3 is kind of the power of it, I guess you'd say. And then it says CB, which is crankbait.
Yep.
But this rod will let you take that bait. It's got a lot of bend, so it's forgiving. So when you're reeling that bait, when that fish hits it and you come back and set the hook, you're not ripping it away from him, or you're pulling it into his mouth. And so
it loads up.
that's it. It loads up instead of driving it like you would with a flipping stick. But if I'm throwing a 1/4 ounce, and this is the same thing with a small crankbait, sometimes like a CD2, you would never want to throw that CD7 on that rod right there. That 7/6 medium heavy, you're going to pull that bait away from him. It's too much rod. You take a 1/4 ounce rip knot, or like lipless crankbait, you'll want to throw it on something like this. Let's make sure I grabbed the right one. Grabbed the wrong one. This is a medium action rod, and this is a 610 Covert series rod. And you can see I have a jerkbait on it because I got done fishing with Terry Bolton, and I throw this rod for my jerkbait as well.
That's typically what I do too.
So, but that rod right there is a 610 medium rod, and the reason to drop to the medium, one, is casting, because if your rod's too stiff like that 7/6 is, and you're trying to throw that small 1/4 ounce lipless bait, it's hard to throw it. The 1/2 ounce bait, you need more rod. A 3/4 ounce bait, you need more rod, but you still don't want a stiff rod. You still need it forgiving. So when you look at this rod is a 610, it's a 2. The other one was a 3. So it's just a little bit lighter to be just a little more forgiving for that smaller bait. But those are my choice of the rods, would be the Covert series. Cranking rod, they make it in the lithium. They got some great cranking rods in the lithium
It makes a great product.
Attacks rods, I think they've got some good medium action rods there, medium heavies. Just when you're throwing that lipless bait though, think about having a forgiving rod, folks, because if not, you're gonna pull that bait away from them too often. You go throw that on a medium, or a 7-foot medium worm and jig rod. Well, you have all stiff back in that rod. You're just driving that bait away from that fish. You're gonna catch them.
I'm sure me and you have both done that a time or two.
Yeah.
Oh.
The rod, it doesn't mean you won't catch them, but what happens is, Trenton, so often if you put a combination of the right rods, the right bait, you'll catch a few more fish than you would if you fished it another way, which is a tournament fisherman. Not me, but that's a big deal to have 2 more bites in a day. That's the difference in winning or losing so many times. And hey, our old buddy Brian Vest on here tonight. Doc Walker on here, Mark Porter, how are you tonight? Amy Silverton Dow, Terry McWilliams. I wonder, let's see, is Terry at home or is he back in Florida yet?
I have no idea. I ain't talked to him.
He's headed back to Florida, and if he ain't told his wife he is, I know he is, so she better know. Steve Clapper, how are you? Steve, I just come back from Michigan up in the cold, and I'm sure you're up in the cold of Ohio. Gary Summit. Now you talking about fun guy to fish with. Old Steve Clapper. You want big old fishing with a smallmouth king, right there it is. Had the opportunity to fish with him a couple years ago, Trenton, and there's your one with the knowledge. He's forgot way more about a fish than I'll ever know about fishing.
Wasn't he inducted into some sort of Hall of Fame?
Yep, he's in the Fishing Hall of Fame, and actually he's pretty phenomenal up there on them Great Lakes, and just a tremendous person on top of it as well. So old Mark Porter's got me set up with a good one. Seeing Mark, it's on there here before long. I'll tell a little more about that in a minute. I'll come back to that, about the trip he's got me getting ready to get into. We'll talk a little carp fishing in a minute.
Oh, boy.
So we'll come back to that. So we got to finish our tackle tip of the week. So the 811 tackle tip. So the other bait that y'all seen me throwing was the CD2. And folks, I'm just going to pop all these out here because I love these. And I'm getting ready to show you. Here is my actual, I like showing the tackle trays because, folks, these are right out of my bass boat. So if you know anything about that, these are really in my boat, and this is really what I carry. So on this side, you can see a whole entourage of lipless crankbaits right there. So, and if you notice right here in the middle, the Jinko CD2. Folks, I was catching them on the show on that. This couple rows right here, you can see are full of the CD2s. The other side, this is a cool box. Ain't got nothing to do with these guys, but I love these boxes. I'll show you this just for the fun of it. I like these boxes to put the baits in because I can put them in rows, and then you got two sides of them. So you can flip that box over. You ever use them?
Nope.
Oh, them are them Bass, I don't even know who these are, Bass Pro boxes. But then on the other side, I've got smaller, shallow running crankbaits. So when you look at a lipless crankbait, you're throwing it in shallow water, and you can do the same thing with a short bill, square bill, whatever you want to call it, crankbait. The neat part with this bait is, as I said, don't throw the lipless bait into wood and cover. Am I on that screen? Oh. So that short lip crankbait enables that bait to wobble through that cover. And I can go back to this camera, or was I good? That bait will go through wobbling, and it can bounce off of things, where that lipless bait is going to run into it and more likely going to get hung up on the wood. I mean, there's just nothing to stop it from getting hung up. Now, the lipless crankbait, you can reel over the top of grass and bounce it up off of it, pull it on up and yo-yo it up. Where this bait, if you get it digging down to where it's hitting the grass,
it's going to get all...
It's getting in the grass. So you kind of have to slow your retrieve down, where the lipless bait, you can burn it, slow it down, let it hit the grass and take off with it. Or if you take off with this bait, it pulls down. But this bait enables you to fish cover. So now you're able to fish shallow water, cover a lot of water looking for aggressive fish. Same thing with the lipless bait. But now you can throw it around the cover. So we've used it a lot at Kentucky Lake in the fall, throwing it up on the flats. We run to the back of these creeks, and the last couple swings, get up there and throw up on them mud flats. You're reeling up through there. Now you're over there on the mud or a little bit of grass. You're coming over it. Tremendous. Same thing in that episode with Nate. I was throwing this bait over the grass. It wasn't getting down in it too far. It was just ticking it. Boom, and fish would just come up there and eat it. And that's why we used both of them. Mike Tetrick, glad you're jumping on here. James Sampson, Elizabeth Phillip. This bait, alongside of a bait like the Rip Knocker, folks, these are great springtime choices, especially March, early April, and then come back and throw them in the fall again. There's some times through the middle of the year as well. You know, post-spawn fish schooled up, you can throw a lipless crankbait through schooling fish and catch them. Tremendous in the fall to throw these up on a flat. I love to take and burn them up top on the white bass. Oh boy,
they love them.
They love them. They eat them up. So yeah, you know, check that out. But that's your 811 tackle tip of the week, and of course, the tackle tip is always brought to you by 811. And always thankful for the good old Jinko cam that allows me to show you these neat little baits. But any of these baits by Jinko, you can find on Tackle Warehouse and
Find on Jinko's website.
Jinko's website. But I'm gonna put these back in there because I don't want to be out on the water and not have that bait in my box. I'd be a little unhappy.
I don't want you to get that in your hand either.
We done seen a video of that.
Yeah.
That's on YouTube, I think, too, ain't it? Nick pulling the hook out of my hand.
I think you actually went
Have we ever
live.
put that on there?
I think you actually went live for that on Facebook.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Huh. And then, so that's your 811 tackle tip of the week. That's what, the CD2, same kind of rods, folks. Same exact thing. I'm throwing it on 14, 17 pound line. You retrieve, just always letting the fish tell you how they want it. Dan Perdue, great show tonight. I got to see some big guns and some Olympic diving by Chris. He called you an Olympic diver, Stowe.
I'm gonna go buy you a gold medal.
Co-host Trenton, Dan Perdue
What's
said
up,
hi. We're gonna get Dan back on. We had a little technical difficulty the other week. We're gonna get Dan back on in the next week or two. Mark Johnson watching. So, all right, that's winding us down to talking a little bit about, anything else you want to add about the baits and that?
No.
Ice fishing?
No. I want to know about this carp fishing.
Oh, that's right. We got to come back to that subject. See, you keep me, make sure I get all my stuff in. All right, let's
Good for
move the
something.
rods out of the way here. Oh, you're good for a lot. We're going to put them rods back over there.
Yep, we don't want them
And
valley
I'm-
rods to break.
Hey, I got to tell you something about that. I'm excited. I got a confirmation. My new lithium ship
Oh.
should be here next week, hopefully on Tuesday. We'll be sharing with you. Watch it after bite. We're going to be talking about Denali's new Lithium Pro Series. Trent and me got to see him in ICAST, what, a year ago?
Yep. Or well, back in the summer. Last summer.
excuse me.
In 2021. That was a show I'd actually never been to either, and it was neat to be able to see all the new products that are coming out for this year. It was cool.
ICAST, 18 years old, getting to go to that. I was dreamed of getting to go and didn't get to go till I was older, and you
Yep.
done been. Tell you what.
I know a guy.
You know, guy, I know a whole bunch of guys. They got to get me in because otherwise I wouldn't get in. ICAST that's always a good experience. That's of course in June or July.
Yep.
And that's a fun one. Me,
We
you, and
actually
Terry.
got to take Terry too.
Yeah, we took Terry with.
Me and Terry, we had
Another bucket list Terry checked off.
Me and Terry, we actually had a heck of a time getting back from Arkansas to here to go to the airport to go to Florida.
Little transmission trouble, stranded and
Stranded in
re-breaks
Springfield.
down. Wayne Glaze is watching here. Bo Hancock, how are you, sir? Bo's going to be headed to Florida here before long to fish with my good friend Gary Sapp. He's going to go down and I think he's going to hopefully do a little live shiner fishing down there. Vicky Henson jumping on. Gilmo Oliver there, and if I ever mispronounce a name, folks, don't get mad because I butcher names. No, I do not sell my old rods because I don't, I'll typically try to find a kid and give him one here or there or do something like that, or Trenton, I'll give him a few rods. Don't never want to go out and just resell and tackle. Get one just out of respect for the great companies that sponsor us and that. So the answer to selling my rods and that, I don't. I know you, Greg, said would you love to try a new Denali crankbait rod with those Jinko baits. I got that. I know that, but I can. There's all kinds of great places that sell all those products, and just out of kindness and respect, I always try to find folks that can utilize them here and there. And then believe it or not, over time, I break a lot of rods and break a lot of bait, or lose a lot of baits, and a lot of people don't realize that. They'll have a rod in their boat and they'll say, well, my rod was bad. Well, folks, let me explain something to you. From Christopher and me stepping on them while we're filming, Guys get in my boat and I look over and I about have a heart attack because all my rods are on the front deck and I have somebody in there as a guest. And Christopher can tell you, he sees it. They're over there standing on my rods and I'm just going like this because I know what's going to happen. Ready? Pow! And the rod blows up. And then the guy goes, oh, that was a bad rod. No, it was called stepped on.
What cracks me up is whenever we went and filmed with Vinny Vickers, Vinny actually broke one. And the rod, there had been about that much of the rod taken off. Well, Vinny takes it and cuts the rest of the rod that's bad down to the next eye. And the rod's like probably another 8 inches short from what it was.
Hey, he was excited about taking that rod. And so a whole lot of times, what people don't realize, throughout a year of as many days as I fish and many times different people in my boat and traveling is just rough on your gear. Mm-hmm. You know, you put it in the boat, you're out there in the dark, you look over, you slam the lid on your truck bed lid and the rod tips up in the corner, crack, there goes that one. Yep. You know, we just go through a lot of rods. I probably broke 10 rods this year or more. And a few of them we've actually, I think, showed on TV break while we're catching a fish or two over the years, haven't we? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Smacking the GoPro, got it in the GoPro bracket one day coming back and got it into the brackets and the rod tip was in there.
You landed the fish though.
Yep. And Merrick McClure adds, and you run out of gas too. Thanks, Merrick. Appreciate your loving comments. Bob Flat jumping on there. Brian Wimsett. Brian, I've been calling him about every other day, talking to him about ATVs and UTVs, and he's always
Nick's wanting one of them Talons.
Oh yeah, that's just what we need, a Honda Talon. Yep. Hey, any of you Honda dealers out there, I'm looking for a Honda sponsorship. We need a Talon to go ice fishing on. We will film an ice fishing show I have.
Lauren needs a horse before that.
You be quiet about the horse. But, yeah, thanks. Yes, I want the horse before the Talon. I hope Lauren don't watch this episode of After the Biter. I'm in big trouble. But now I got totally distracted on that joke. What were we talking about?
Carp fishing.
Oh, there we go. Back to carp fishing, folks. So I got a guy, a really great guy, by the way, Mark Porter. Mark is just a tremendous individual and a great friend, and had the opportunity to hunt with Mark a few times over the years, and we've actually not got to fish together, but Mark is a tremendous individual, goes out and takes and spends a lot of time working with a company, Dead End Game Calls, and Mark takes kids that don't necessarily always have a great opportunity to go out and be able to hunt and fish. Maybe it's a disability that, or maybe it's, they've a sickness or a disease or things that prevent them from having a great opportunity to get in the outdoors every day. And Mark and them work with a couple of organizations of getting these kids out there in the woods and taking them hunting and fishing and I should say hunting. Anyway, Mark's buddy, and I'm getting ready to go blank. Here we go. Hold on, I got to Google something here, as always. The great thing with Google. Dead End Game Calls is they build turkey calls, and I'm going to blank the guy's name. Hold on. Everybody knows me and names don't get along.
Yep.
So I'm gonna make this come out. But anyway, so he builds turkey calls, and Mark works for them on and has for a long time. And we were at the ATA show the other day. Oh my goodness, it's Mitchell. I can't even think of the guy's first name and owns Dead End Game Calls. Just went totally blank. So Christopher's over there flagging me. Come on, Dad, go. So anyway, Porter says, hey, this guy, here he's supposed to be in the turkey calls and all of that stuff and that. he gets to tell me, I go over and meet him, we get talking, and he says, and by the way, I love to carp fish. I said, you like to what? He said, carp fish. And I'm like, you like to carp fish? Well, folks, I followed that end on Mossy Oak Go. They do a bunch of stuff on there. They do a bunch of stuff, you know, on their Facebook, Instagram. And these guys are just great people and great folks. And so I think hoping our final episode of the season, Trenton, we're going to go carp fishing in North Carolina.
That would be a treat. To be honest with you, I think it'd be neat.
They catch these things on bass fishing rods.
Hey, I've caught them on Lauren's Ninja Stick.
That's a crappie fishing rod.
I know.
But, so we're talking about going up there. Christopher, Google dead end game calls and give me his name. I go and drive me nuts. I don't care if I am live. I always forget people's names and get them all mixed up. But Porter might comment and straighten me up there, so check your Facebook Live there.
I've been looking.
Porter's pretty good. But, so, it's Mitchell something, yeah. Johnson, there you go. I knew that. And he's been on here tonight. That's who it was earlier. Mitchell, I'm sorry. I knew it was Mitchell, but I wasn't positive. And I'm sitting there going, man, if I get that name wrong, I'm going to feel bad. Anyway, so Mitchell Johnson gets telling me and that he likes to carp fish, and his other buddies there, that they have entire lakes that they have set up for carp fishing tournaments. So you get a hole number, or you put in for these drawing, and they draw out numbers, and you get certain hole for the tournament.
No kidding.
And these guys get into this, and they have carp fishing tournaments. So we're wanting to go up there and shoot a carp episode. Now, you talking about got to be some fun.
Oh.
I know what it's like foul hooking them, but I can't imagine getting one hooked right on because they've got to be a bull.
Me and you've we caught a couple years ago up at Taylorsville crappie fishing that we caught.
Yeah, one on the show.
Yeah.
In the mouth.
Yeah.
And in the mouth.
I've caught a couple that I've caught in the mouth crappie fishing.
They're game on when they're hooked in the mouth. So we are looking forward to setting that up because that is going to be an exciting one for me because I got to say I've never been 100% other than with my bow fishing. I have never went out trying to officially catch a carp.
Yeah.
But they have flavoring. They take this to a whole nother realm. I mean, it ain't a joke. I mean, these boys is into it. So we're going to be looking forward to going to North Carolina and filming that. That's going to be a fun one coming up. About like the ice fishing, a new experience.
Yep.
But I will just, say the fun part about all them trips, Trenton, just like the ice fishing. Isn't it fun meeting all the folks?
Oh, it is.
And
we never met a bad person while we was up there.
Nope. Son, Alpena, Michigan, Grand Lake Resort, Grand Lake, all up there. I got telling this, I don't know, the other day, and maybe I said it last week, or I don't remember where I was talking about this, but, I always say that up north and down south, people are two different things. Southern people are hospital, northern people are hospital. I said, no, that's not really the case. Really what the case is big town or small towns.
Yep.
And when you go, whether you're in the north or the south, when you get outside them big cities, compacted in there, small towns, people just hospitable. They want you there.
Small town America.
Just like here in Taylorsville. It don't take me wrong. They ain't bad people in the big city. It's this, when you're in a small town, people are excited about you being there. We was in that little old town up there. Everybody I walked into McDonald's, how you, sir? How you, sir? They don't know me, nobody, and everybody in the McDonald's greeted me. And I'm like, I come back out of there. I went to Walgreens to get Nick ear drops. He had an earache while we were up there. That lady's like, sir, just give me your number. I'll call you in just a minute when your prescription ready. This is at the Walgreens. I'm like,
Did you answer your phone?
Yeah. No. But she called and left me a message, and I went over and picked it up. But I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, we're in a big old mass, chain store. And yes, sir, I'll call you right up as soon as that's ready. And you're like, wow. So just fun about small town America, and that's what'll be fun about heading to, you know, up there and doing a little carp fishing. So, Nate Adams, great show this week. Tremendous individual. Check out Getting Real.
What's next week's episode?
Next week's episode, yeah, because I was getting ready to get close to wrapping this up and pick a winner. But next week's episode is
Christopher.
Christopher.
Vinny Baker.
Oh,
Vinny.
my, folks. I'm gonna throw something out here right now. So next week's episode, folks, I've been around the damage prevention, which is what we call safe digging, for 25, almost 20-something years. I'm gonna say right at 25. Heck, it all runs together in time, just whatever. But I got to fish with a gentleman named Vinny Vickers, and you got to go down and film that.
Yep.
Folks, I've been invited a lot of places over, 50, 60-something episodes that we've shot now over the years. And Vinny, Trenton, we got down there. It was like red carpet,
Oh,
son.
they took us in like we were theirs.
They had food every night. People, they brought a pontoon boat out, brought us food for lunch. We had some interesting moments happen down there.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you, there was a unicorn in my boat, but that's all I'm gonna say. So if you want to watch something funny next week, just check this out.
Oh, man.
Unicorn in my bass boat. But Vinny Vickers, what a hospitable guy. This guy has spent 40 years in the gas.
Yep.
And he has spent a good portion of his career in damage prevention for Centerpoint Energy. And they just actually got acquired down there by another company. But Centerpoint, I had the opportunity to take Vinny out with 40 years of his experience. And this guy's the most hospitable guy, the most loving person, takes pride in his job. 40
He does.
years, folks, at his job. And he takes people safe digging serious.
Yes, he does. I've
And
got to talk to him a handful of times. I got to meet him at the, what is it?
Bloom Festival.
Not
No.
the Bloom Festival. It was the one in Arkansas that Roger put on.
Arkansas 811
Yep.
the Arkansas Damage Prevention Summit down there. 811 magazines, Roger Cox puts on.
Got to meet him, and it was a pleasure talking to him.
Yeah. So Vinny, with his experience, folks, he's in the boat, and let me tell you, he talks, he loves to fish. And he's the one that kept the rod that broke, by the way.
That's funny.
That you bring him up. But Vinny's a great guy. It's an episode that if you want to meet a person that's a joy to fish with, get on there. His After the Bite interview next week or Getting Real will be awesome as well, and I'll talk about that next week. But Vinny Vickers will be on the direction Tuesday night, 7 p.m. on Pursuit Channel. Go check it out because you don't want to miss this guy. It's tremendous, and you'll find out what the unicorn is all about on this. How about that?
You need to pick us a winner for our Jinko prize package.
There's a lady here local, Dana Fowler. Dana made a great comment about my 811.
I don't even remember what you called that thing.
It's an Enu.
Did you hear that?
I think that's what they call them. Look
I've
up
heard
Enu on there.
I've heard of hammocks. Now,
It is a hammock, but the hammock is like netting. The Enu, you can get in it and it'll curl up around you. You can
I know I've taken some good naps in the hammock.
you look on there and see if there's not a brand called Enu. Somebody on here defend me if I'm wrong, because I'm good at being wrong.
Hey, Clayton, you're right. I do need to go to bed.
Clayton Roundtree, is that Roundtree on there?
Yeah.
Hey, I sent Clayton a picture, by the way. I'm going to jump subject for 1 second before we pick our next Jinko winner.
5 seconds.
Do what?
You got 1 minute 55 seconds.
Why is that? Christopher's making me round up. But anyway, Clayton, I actually had Trenton. I've been like a little kid. I had my first bobcat on one of my trail cams on my farm out in Mount Eden. I'd never I've not ever seen a bobcat live in person while I've been in the woods. I know there's a few of them around, but I actually have one on my trail cam on my cutty bike.
I've seen one.
You've actually seen one? So I haven't ever seen one, and I got so excited this week because on my trail cam, I finally got a picture of a bobcat. Right there, folks. I'm going to actually show you. Look at that. I thought that was as cool as all get out, Trenton. And of course, Trenton knows me. A lot of folks don't know I love my farms. I got a couple farms. I love food plots and deer hunting and getting the kids out. And I love my trail cameras though. I'm like a little kid. I watch these things. You'll be in my office. And of course my EDD kicks in and I jump from one squirrel to the next and you'll be talking to me about business and pops up deer
pictures. He goes, oh, look at this deer on camera.
You have to do that impersonation of me.
He goes, it's wicked looking.
Oh, no. You're going to put me in tears.
Too long.
So anyway, I was being excited all week. I sent that to Clayton Roundtree. I said, man, I got my first picture of a bobcat, which was pretty darn cool. Our Jinko comment, who somebody new, Christopher, anybody notice somebody brand new that hadn't been on the after the bite?
Colby said it was his first time tuning in.
How about Colby? Let's pick him up. I think he's from Taylorsville as well. So Colby, you're going to be our Jinko prize package winner this week. So we're going to send that over. I'm going to message you, or if you don't mind and still watching, message me on the personal message. Don't put it on the comments, but give me your address and information, and Jinko will be sending you a few goodies. And what else?
Think we wrap this show up?
Christopher said 1 minute, 55 seconds. That means he's saying, Dad, enough.
Yep.
And on that note, I'm Mark Stowe. This is After the Bite, The Direction, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pursuit Channel.
I'm Trenton Estridge.
And we are going to get
Plant trees.
We got trees to plant tomorrow, if it's not raining. But on that note, you all have a good night.
Thank you.